Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of True Crime Stories. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most horrific and shocking cases of family murder in American history. The case of Marcus Wesson, a man who killed 9 of his children in 2004. What drove him to commit such a monstrous act? How did he manipulate and control this family for decades? And what happened to him after he was arrested and convicted? These are some of the questions that we will try to answer in this video. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of our latest uploads. And if you enjoy our content, please give us a like and share this video with your friends. Now, let's get started. Marcus Wesson was born on August 22, 1946 in Kansas. He was the eldest of 4 children, and his father was a preacher who belonged to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Wesson grew up in a strict and religious household, where he was taught to obey the Bible and respect his parents. He also developed an interest in guns and hunting, and often went to the woods with his father. Wesson dropped out of high school in the 10th grade and joined the Army in 1966. He served in the Vietnam War and was discharged in 1968. He then moved to San Jose, California, where he met his first wife, Rosemary Solorio. They married in 1971 and had 2 sons and 2 daughters. However, their marriage was not happy, and Wesson was abusive and unfaithful to his wife. He also became obsessed with the idea of the end of the world and started to stockpile weapons and food. He also claimed that he had a vision from God, who told him to create a large family and protect them from the evil outside. In 1974, Wesson met Elizabeth Ollard, who was only 8 years old at the time. She was the daughter of his wife's sister and lived in the same apartment complex as Wesson. Wesson took a liking to her and started to groom her and molest her. He convinced her that he was her real father and that they were destined to be together. He also told her that he was the chosen one of God and that she had to obey him in everything. He isolated her from her family and friends and brainwashed her with his twisted beliefs. He also gave her books to read, such as the Bible, the Book of Mormon, and the story of David Koresh, the leader of the Branch Davidians, a religious sect that was involved in a deadly standoff with the FBI in 1993. When Elizabeth was 15, she ran away from home and moved in with Wesson. They married in 1978 and had 10 children together. Wesson also continued his relationship with his first wife and had 3 more children with her. He also had 7 children with his nieces, who were also his daughters. He also had 4 children with his daughters, who were also his granddaughters. In total, he fathered 20 children with 7 women, most of whom were related to him by blood. Wesson kept his family under his complete control and made them live in various isolated locations, such as a boat, a tent, and a rundown house. He homeschooled his children and taught them his own version of religion, history, and science. He also made them wear dark clothes and grow their hair long. He forbade them from having any contact with the outside world and punished them severely if they disobeyed him. He also sexually abused his daughters and nieces and made them his wives. He told them that they belonged to him and that they had to bear his children. He also made them sign marriage certificates and exchange rings with him. He also made his sons his servants and taught them to respect and fear him. Wesson also instilled in his family a sense of paranoia and loyalty and told them that they had to be ready for the apocalypse, which he predicted would happen soon. He also told them that they had to be willing to die for him and that he had a plan for them. He said that if anyone tried to take them away from him, they had to kill themselves and each other rather than surrender. He also showed them how to use guns and gave them each a coffin to sleep in. On March 12, 2004, Wesson's family was living in a large, dilapidated house in Fresno, California. That day, 2 of his nieces, Ruby and Safina, who had escaped from his cult, came to the house with their relatives and the police. They wanted to take away their children, who were also Wesson's children, from him. They had filed a child custody case against him and had obtained a court order to remove their children from his custody. When they arrived at the house, they saw Wesson outside and confronted him. They demanded that he let them see their children and that he hand them over to them. Wesson refused and said that they had no right to take his children away from him. He also said that he would rather die than give up his children. He then went inside the house and locked the door behind him. The police tried to negotiate with Wesson and asked him to come out peacefully. They also tried to enter the house, but found it barricaded with furniture and junk. They heard gunshots from inside the house and feared that Wesson was killing his children. They broke down the door and stormed into the house. They found Wesson in a back room covered in blood. He surrendered without resistance and was arrested. The police then searched the house and found a horrific scene. In a bedroom, they found 9 bodies piled on top of each other, covered with clothes and blankets. They were all Wesson's children, ranging in age from 1 to 25. They had all been shot in the eye, and some of them had bite marks on their arms. The police also found a .22 caliber revolver, which Wesson had used to kill his children. The police later learned that Wesson had killed his children one by one, starting with the oldest and ending with the youngest. He had also made some of his children help him kill the others, and then killed them as well. He had also written a note saying that he loved his children and that he was sorry for what he had done. Wesson was charged with 9 counts of first-degree murder and 14 counts of rape and molestation. He pleaded not guilty and claimed that he was innocent. He said that he did not kill his children and that they had killed themselves as part of a suicide pact. He also said that he did not abuse his children and that they had consented to have sex with him. He also said that he was a good father and that he loved his children. His trial began in 2005 and lasted for 6 months. The prosecution presented evidence and testimony from his surviving family members, who revealed the extent of his abuse and control over them. They also showed photos and videos of the crime scene and the autopsy reports of his children. The defense tried to cast doubt on the credibility of the witnesses and the validity of the evidence. They'd also tried to portray Wesson as a misunderstood and persecuted man who was following his religious beliefs. The jury deliberated for 3 days and found Wesson guilty of all charges. He was sentenced to death and sent to San Quentin State Prison. He is currently on death row, awaiting his execution. He has not shown any remorse or regret for his actions and still maintains his innocence. He also still has some loyal followers who visit him and support him. The case of Marcus Wesson is one of the most shocking and disturbing cases of family murder in American history. It shows how one man can manipulate and destroy the lives of his own children, and how he can justify his actions with his twisted and delusional beliefs. It also shows how the authorities and the society failed to protect the victims, and how they could have prevented this tragedy from happening. It also raises questions about the nature of cults and the psychology of their leaders and followers. We hope that you have learned something from this video and that you have gained some insight into this case. If you have any thoughts or opinions about this case, please let us know in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions for future topics, please feel free to share them with us. We would love to hear from you. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.